Another perfect day weather-wise. So after a beautiful stay in Mildura, we follow the border along to South Australia, and we're now in South Australia. Once we were in South Australia, we started to see these quarantine signs along the road. Hard to read going at the speed, so I ended up stopping to read one. So we just did the right thing and got rid of all our fruit and veg. I don't know what's on the list, but yeah, got rid of it all. And these bins here provided. And then swept out the van so there's no dirt lying around. Anyway, hope I've done the right thing. This is the quarantine station coming up. So yeah, all clear, they checked. The rules have changed now. How it works is I stopped off at the quarantine area back there where you can get rid of your food. I dropped it off. If I'd come into this place and actually given them the fruit, that would have been an offence itself. So yeah, I'm just going to check some air in the tyres. So yeah, I couldn't get air in the tyres. There was no gauge there. I don't want to hassle them because I'm not getting fuel. But anyway, so yeah, that's the quarantine station. Lucky I turned around and threw the fruit out because I was just going to hand it over to them. Lucky I didn't. Anyway. So we're going across this nice old bridge, and again another healthy river system. Quite good to see. So we're coming into this beautiful town of Renmark, top up with some fuel, supplies to make our way across to Port Augusta. So we're heading out of Renmark now, and all along the side of the road you see these abandoned old farmhouses. Well, that's what it looks like. You know what's amazing about the landscape in Australia is 1 minute it's dry and desolate, next minute it's green and as healthy as this, except for the old farmhouses. One of the things that I noticed was everywhere there are these wind farms all over South Australia. And there's this pipeline that we follow either alongside the road or in the mountains all the way back into Port Augusta. So for the first time on our trip, the weather starts to deteriorate. Looks like we're going to head into a storm. One thing I started to notice in these little towns where the shops were empty. In South Australia they know how to move freight and produce either on these double-decker trains or their road trains. So as we're heading into Port Augusta, we've got this beautiful mountain range on the right, there's that pipeline on the left, and we're about to go and hit that storm we were talking about earlier. So yeah, first bit of rain of the trip. Day 6 we get rain, and then for the next 2 days it's supposed to be really clear. So about 10 k's out of Port Augusta we see this stick looking tower in the horizon. It turns out it was a solar farm. So we arrive in Port Augusta Saturday, local football game, and go for a little bit of a tiki tour through the town. So on this trip, when I'm looking to stop somewhere, I make sure there's no one around so I can let Jack off the lead and have some fun, and have some fun he does. He really doesn't care what the weather's like. He wants to go in the water. He's in the water. So we go do some more exploring around Port Augusta. So after touring Port Augusta, we go look for a place to rest our heads for the night. So you can see what I mean about moving freight and produce. This is a 3-berth road train. Overcast, but it's a beautiful day in Port Augusta. Jack having a really big walk this morning. He's just had about an hour's run on the lead, off the lead, sorry, and now I'm going to do a photo, so walking across this way. We're going to head to Port Lincoln this morning and let Jack off the lead for one more last run before the long drive. Come on! Oh, look out, he's going to hit the water and tumble over. Oh! Hello, mate. So we're heading back into Port Augusta to replenish the fruit and vegetable we lost on the border. This is the first place we've been able to really get some good fruit and veg. And then we're going to head from Port Augusta with a couple of stops in between to Port Lincoln. So yet another beautiful day to travel down the coast. So we're driving along and these signs got the better of me. They're all along this fence about 20 metres or 15 metres apart, and it's been like that for now probably, I don't know, the last 10k. Had to stop, let Jack have a toilet break and see what the sign said. So it turns out it's a large military base. So here we're coming into the industrial town of Whyalla, and we're up on this lookout right in the middle of the town. So we leave Whyalla, Jack gets comfortable for the drive. So all the way down the coast we saw that this was the seafood capital, so they called it. So we went and searched for some seafood in this town called Caldwell. Found the Fish Box Cafe and grabbed some whiting and chips and smothered it in lemon, and yeah, it was good. Jack enjoyed it too. So Jack always knows I share my food with him, what I can, and he just doesn't understand that it's hot at times, so he's just biting at the bit to get it, not understanding that it's got to cool down. So after we enjoyed our beautiful lunch and a bit of a chat with the guy from the fish box kiosk, we head down towards Port Lincoln. One of the first things I look for when I'm coming into a town is where the airport is, and you can see Qantas landing there, so it's a fair way to town, which means I'll be able to get a drone flying the town. So this is Port Lincoln and the beautiful drive into the town by the ocean. So we go ahead and look for a caravan park, and this is our beautiful park overlooking the water at Port Lincoln, and it's crystal clear water in Port Lincoln. I love it when I find a little gem like this. Port Lincoln as a town. At the moment I'm travelling around Australia looking for great destinations for my tours, and this is definitely on the list. As the sun goes down, I'm just thinking about what I'm going to have for dinner, and whether it's a place where I can sit and watch the sunset go down with a beer or a wine. It's just a beautiful, beautiful place, Port Lincoln. So we wake up early in the morning to do this time lapse of the sunrise, and yeah, special place. Then it's time to get the drone out and show you this beautiful place we stayed at for the night. The reason I leave Jack in the car while I'm doing a drone fly, if there's people around, he just barks at the drone and thinks it's something to chase, which is good when there's no one around, but when there's people around, it's not a good idea. What I love about South Australia is how industrial and residential working well together. As you can see, you got the caravan park below, the part of the town all overlooking the water, and tucked in the back is the industrial working port. As I mentioned earlier, how crystal clear the water is. The dark parts are seaweed, so it doesn't really show how crystal clear the water is, but that's sand, and some of that's fairly deep water as it goes out, so it's very clear, clean water. So thank you for watching our travels. See you next episode.